a few things I wish were done differently. Because sometimes bite takes like 10 or 20 seconds. And then sometimes it's immediate. And then sometimes it takes like a few minutes for them to change. I thought it should have been more consistent. And I also would have liked if we got to see some of the main characters more, because, on the cover is who ends up being most of the main characters. Besides one guy who's actually in the beginning of the movie and survives till there's 20 minutes left that they left out on the cover for some reason. Even though the guy in the blue died pretty early in compared to the rest of the main characters. Anyway, I wish their friends would have survived a little bit longer, because they get killed pretty early on. We don't get to see much of them, but from what we did see, I did like them, so I wish they would have survived longer instead of all of those zombies that jumped through the window and down to the ground that just got them and that were running through the station. And I felt bad for the conductor, because the conductor was just a really nice guy. Every scene we saw him in, he was worried and wanted to save people. And one of the people he wanted to save turned out to be the asshole that has been risking everybody's life through the entire movie. He risked several people's life because he thinks they might be bitten. So he gets punched straight in the face. And he's like, we could have saved them. Why would you do that? He doesn't answer and just says he's infected to get him out of there. Then later, it turns out he survives. A very intense and cool scene where the sister decides to just let all the zombies in and kill her and everybody else that were in there, because they let her sister die. Because her sister was too kind and always thought of other people before her. He ends up surviving, and the one guy that's been defending him, and he tells the guy that's been defending him to go first, and of course he pushes him in the way to sacrifice him to the zombies. And then later he kills one of the main characters by sacrificing her to the zombies. Then he sacrifices the conductor to the zombies. But it's too late because he gets bitten. They try and give us sympathy for him by, he wanted to go to see his mom. He tells them his address, which is a sad scene, but I really didn't like him. He was a terrible person. So I'm not going to feel bad for him. Doesn't make the scene any less sad, but not going to feel bad for him. You can't make me do it. And there were so many intense and clever scenes. Like, for example, the movie Tormented and You're Next. The main characters are really smart. They were really smart in this, too. Because, the guy ends up throwing the one guy's phone and calling it to distract the zombies. They crawl on the top of the train where all the suitcases are to get through the zombies. They throw suitcases to distract the zombies. Just a very intense and amazing zombie movie. And the three characters that had the most chemistry obviously get killed. The guy in the blue ends up sacrificing himself for them because he gets bitten. The one guy just lets himself get killed because he loses his friend, his last and only friend that didn't die. So what else was there to live for? And then the one guy fights the very evil person they try and make you feel bad for, and he gets bitten on the hand. So he has a few flashbacks to how happy his life used to be, and then he kills himself by jumping off the moving train. The before he can fully turn into a zombie. Though the few scenes we got with them together was awesome, and their little fighting back and forth relationship was really cool. And I really like the scene when they're stuck in the bathroom because they had to lock themselves in there and the zombies were getting close. So I have to wait until they go to a tunnel and they just have a little conversation joking back and forth, though. Doesn't really make sense since they watched a lot of their friends die. But it was a unique and cool scene. Like how he's like, hey, I don't really like your ringtone, it's kind of tacky. And he's like, what's wrong with my ringtone? How can I change it? They just start laughing. And then he pulls in the one guy's ear and calls him a rat. And asks him what he's laughing at. And then it abruptly stops because the lights turn off, so they gotta go. I wish we would have found out that happened to Kim, though, because they kept making it a thing with him keep calling Kim back, but we never find out what happens to Kim. The movie ends with the wife of the guy in the blue shirt surviving, and the kid surviving. I don't think they said any of the names in this movie. If they did, I don't really remember them. But it really reminds me of Hal. We didn't really know many of their names. And they both get stuck on a train with bloodthirsty monsters. This one's zombies and the other one's a werewolves. So they're very similar.